Heck, let's just start right now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. Excuse me, I'm getting a call right now. Yes? Yes? Hello? Yes, put him through. It's the White House. Yeah, no. Just tell him I said that tariffs only work in limited situations, and if you just max everything out, it's no longer a tariff. It's the primary economic wall that you put up, and so therefore it has no meaning. If it's all the same everywhere, yeah. Even if you spike it to 150%, nobody believes it, right? Yeah, you have so many carve outs. It's just, yeah. No, I won't tell anybody you called. That was Nutlick. He calls every so often because he needs to get things explained to him. Welcome to the show, everybody. And hi, chat room. Greatest chat room in the history of chat rooms. Can I tell you guys again how many compliments I hear about you guys on all the shows everywhere? Bless you. And if I haven't heard from it, it's simply because you guys show up in their chat rooms and are just nice participants. So here's what I would like you to do. If you're over there at Midas or any of those other places, or God forbid, Hamas Abi's chat room or whatever, tell them I said hi. And if they'd like to actually hear how shit works and, you know, have a functional idea about politics as opposed to social movements masquerading as politics, which accomplish, what's the word I'm looking for? Fuck all. Then they tell them to come on over and check in with me, because it'd be a good thing. You are the best people. There's no question about it. Happy Tuesday. It's great. Yes, we are co-awesome, I would say, Pearlwise. That's how I look at it. I think we share in the awesome. And I feel a responsibility to show up every day and be awesome for you so that, you know, I'm not wasting your awesome time. You're livid? Well, it's a way to be. There's plenty of reasons to be that. We're going to dive in. Where do we even start? So I love me some conspiracy theories. I'm a big fan, especially the dumb ones, or especially the wholly unprovable yet self-immolating ones, which the maggots are going through right now. I would argue around like Candace Owens and Jimmy Dore and Charlie Kirk and all that kind of stuff. That there's literally a concrete wall on the reality of it, not just because government secrecy and all that kind of stuff that, you know, or the legal wall that you would put up when someone's on trial for something and you're not going to release certain information. There's a gag order, I think, in the Tyler Robinson case, again, you know, the case against him. And so that has turned into yet another sign that the opaque deep state Illuminati Pentaverate is running shit. And for those of you, that don't know, let's see, do I have an explanation for the Pentaverate? Yeah.
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaverate, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaverate?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
Right. So that's, that'll catch you up on who's actually running the world. In case you didn't know, I mean, obviously, you guys are in the know, certainly. But my favorite new one, I think, is the anti-Larry Ellison stuff. Now, Larry Ellison, head of Oracle, basically running this giant organization, but being one of the sort of figurehead CEOs of our time. These guys who only know as much about their company as they watch in YouTube videos and vaguely pick up during board meetings. Like they have this kind of surface understanding of how everything works because whatever they started their business as that they might have started doing, like he started coding, I think in high school or in college and, started Oracle and all that kind of stuff later. But since then, because of AI and because of the complexity of it, it has sort of taken off and gone away from him. So a lot of it's just like they don't hear what's going on. They can't. So all they can do is kind of manage the business and try to listen to the people talking to them that may know something that work in their industry that they have hired recently. And those people will tell them kind of, well, this is the way it's headed. And they'll go, well, this is the way it's headed, and people think that this was an original thought from there. So every speech you'll hear from Larry Ellison, or even I would argue Elon Musk at this point, is third hand from their techs, third hand from someone on their board or in their R&D. Okay, so there's it's fairly hilarious to watch because I watch because of like Friday Eye, for example. Check it out on Friday mornings. I know it's the least favorite show. I know by numbers, lowest turnout of all my shows all week, but probably the most important. That's how it usually works out. I get it because that's the cost of being ahead of the curve. It's just what I do. But in studying all this stuff in my spare time and working on it and needling around at the tech of it as I would say a proto layperson, a meta layperson. I'm slightly above what the average person knows, but not an engineer that's gone to university. But I'm higher in that the stratosphere of understanding, right, than the average person, but not to the point where I don't remember my family's birthdays and stuff like that and have to sit in a dark room and loud noises freak me out. Oh, thank you, Sheehan. It had to be somebody's. But the point of it is that I watch all these, like all the main tech guys that have worked on all these things for a long time and what they're talking about, and I can tell when I'm listening to someone else talking about it secondhand. I can see the filter because I have to do it. I have to filter what I'm seeing for you guys so that it's digestible and palatable and that kind of stuff. But I would like to think, anyways, interpreting this stuff and explaining it as best I can. Whereas these guys are just regurgitating shit and just yammering to sound like a boss. Okay. And Larry Ellison is probably the top guy. He and Elon Musk jockey for being the closest to the actual information, but being the most full of shit at the same time. Okay. And so there's just this window of like, they've gotten to the head of the line because of early, in the case of PayPal on Elon Musk's side, or because of Oracle and it's kind of just business architecture in the same way that, like, I would argue that Bill Gates is kind of bullshitting about AI at this point because it's well beyond his comprehension of coding, because that was left a long time ago. This is a dude who was operating in maybe C++. You know what I mean? Like he was doing just kind of baseline stuff. Many people, maybe you don't know, but DOS, which is the operating system that Windows was built on top of, was something that Bill Gates bought from another programmer, and it was originally called QDOS because there was not an operating system for a lot of these computers that everybody was using. And so this guy drafted one. He made one, and he called it QDOS, which stood for Quick and Dirty Operating System. And he dropped the Q and just made it DOS, and called it like digital operating system or whatever what he made up the word D meant. But D originally meant dirty. It was literally QDOS, okay? So even Bill Gates, as he's thought of as being kind of this nerd king in and amongst Microsoft, was probably the least most knowledgeable person at his company within a year. If that makes sense. Yes, don't confuse QDOS with QSnatch. That's a totally different
piece of malware called QSnatch.
That's different.
QSnatch.
Right, which is I think the thing that runs the sex robots that Matt Walsh is afraid of. You DOS it? Yeah. Okay. So yes, the original Q. So which just stood for quick. So right, disk operating system because they put it on a disk. Right. Okay. But it was originally dirty. That's what it stood for. So within about a year or so, in hiring other techs and building the company, he was buying these real programmers. Okay. And they all knew more than he did by far. Okay. Same thing is true of Larry Ellison. He just runs the top of the company, and increasingly there is this like this launch section in reverse where he's in the capsule and they're the rocket itself, and they're breaking away, and he's continuing on, but he's detached from the knowing how shit works. All they know is we need more servers and we need more chips and we need more power. Like that's pretty much where these dickheads live all the time. Okay, now that brings us to the paranoia that comes with gaps in understanding. So anytime there, like certain groups of people used to be, you would spackle all the unknown things in the world with God. They call it the God of the gaps. Anything we don't understand, just spackle God in there. God must have done that. That's, we don't know what's thunder. God's bowling, right? That's the sound of God bowling, right? So you would just fill all the gaps of shit you didn't know with, well, it's a mystery, and right, and that was enough. There is a in these guys, there's a sort of a genius conspiracy in that, like, if they don't talk about this or they don't explain the thing, it's because, well, you wouldn't understand it, so I'm not going to bother you with the nerd talk. When in reality, they just don't fucking know. So they can patch over their own ignorance with, it's a very, I won't bore you with the details because I don't know them, right? Trump does this all the time with economics and peace plans and like everything he does that, right? That's a modern like CEO bullshit strategy. Then there's a huge group of people largely born from the internet and the Alex Jones world and everywhere else. And like I said, all the right wingers have started to try and carve off a piece of the InfoWars business model, where you any gap you have, anything you don't understand or is outside your comfort zone, you spackle with conspiracy. It's got to be the CIA and Mossad and the KGB and lizard people all working together to make this happen. It's got to be a big conspiracy because I don't want to read the rest of the article. And that happens everywhere. Okay. The best part about that, and this is, I want to start us off with it. The best part, the sweet spot of that reflex from these people is that it never goes away, even when it's your own side. You would think that once Trump got in, a lot of these people would go, thank God, the deep state is dead. Everything that is done is because Trump is a genius, and I might not understand it, but I trust him to do this thing, and even if it's stuff I said I hated before, the fact that he's doing it makes it okay. It's no longer the deep state doing it, even if it's the exact same thing they were doing before, and they're continuing to do it. It doesn't matter. Now, I don't think it's a conspiracy anymore. I know it's the right thing to do. Even if Biden or Obama did it, or even Bush did it, I would go, this is a fucking conspiracy of all conspiracies. Now that Trump's doing it, I'm down, right? You would think that that's how, because MAGA's a cult, and by and large, they have, been willing to bullshit themselves that way before. But it's like a reflex. It's like an automatic, it's a knee-jerk reaction from these dickheads. And it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's so wonderful. And it is the single biggest tool against them because they carry it themselves and they strike themselves with it. It's not something we have to do. It's like a fucking wind-up toy. Like that paranoia wind-up toy that Trump started, them really on that march with the QAnons and all that kind of shit. Like, once that thing is wound up, you can't stop it. It's a Terminator mixed with the cymbal monkey going, it just goes on and on and on. Okay. So much so that they can't quite grasp, and I have not pre-watched this, but I can tell from the thumbnail that this is where we're going. Media takeover. Larry Ellison, bunch of spiderweb laser, Jewish space lasers. Those are Jewish space. They have to be. And this is from Peanut Butter Dickhead, and it's indicative of something, because I want to show you one other video thumbnail as well. The new king of media, the billionaire you're not watching closely enough. Okay, well, first of all maggots should be watching him because he's one of Trump's best friends right now. Like, he's everywhere. Here's another version. This is the One Path Network. I don't know what the fuck this is, but this will give you another example of why they're saying this. ChatGPT is not safe. There's ChatGPT's logo. Money, this guy is Jew. like, look at this shit. Jew. Like, that's what ChatGPT is now circumcised, apparently. $275 billion. Jew. and then this like yellow arrow. In case you didn't know, it's okay. So you get the idea. This is part of the panic amongst maggots, is because Judeo-Christian it is another example of those two trains leaving the station. Okay? Judeo and Christian are two very different things. The Old Testament and the New Testament are contradictory. Otherwise, they never would have nailed that dude to a piece of wood. Do you understand? It's because the New Covenant, which is really what the New Testament should be called, is against the Old Covenant, and how fucking dare you? Bang. Okay. It's a softer conflict than, say, Shiite and Sunni, but it's no less intense. It's just a slower boil, okay? It's the crock pot religious war versus the fucking char-grilled version that's happening the rest of the time. So, are you with me so far? Chat room, have I lost you? I feel all right, because this is a crucial aspect of what's happening in MAGA land right now, and it pops up in a bunch of different things. Be it, Candace Owens, being a hardline Catholic and leaving the Daily Wire because it's run by a Zionist Jew, right? That's why she left. Not because you can't criticize the government of Israel. That wasn't it. It was literally the Judeo versus the Christian. And you there at a certain point, you can enemy of my, the enemy of my enemy is my friend for a while when it comes to like Muslim expansion, in the fucking 12th century. But you can only go so far before eventually it's a problem. And it's not going to be a problem in civilized society most of the time. But it is good. Yes, it's the crockpot religious war. It's been boiling for a long time, and it's almost done. It's almost stew. And let's see, I call it Judeo-Chrislamic because it's all the same God of Abraham. Yeah, but I mean, I would argue there's a difference slightly in that it's all a familial fight over religious control of a lineage. It's a hierarchical. It's the kids fighting over the who gets to inherit the kingdom, right, and control and the key to the kingdom. So that was true of all the Abrahamic religions, right? But there's a subset version of that in the Muslim faith, be it Sunni and Shia and some of the other breakaways, that's more intense. And again, that's the char-grilled, the bonfire version of it versus the crockpot version, which has been stumbling along for quite some time. And that would be a bit of a split in the Catholic and Protestant, like how pagan do we allow our religion to still be, which is the Catholic version of things, because basically the saints are another form of polytheism, right? Okay, so that's a whole, I got to do a Sunday show just for that reason. Okay, that's why all religion sucks. Well, technically speaking, belief in God doesn't have to involve a religion. A religion is the mechanic around it. Religio comes from the Latin, where the word ligament comes from, to bind back, to religio. You know what I'm saying? And the idea is that you can be separate from God, and it is the responsibility of the church to tie you back to God. So you can argue that some sects of Christianity are religious and some are simply deism, right? Deism is different from religion. Okay, so I'm just categorizing these things because it's kind of important in that what you're seeing is the more intense, and I mentioned this before, but like Orthodox religion is, no matter what you do, of any sort, is incompatible with democracy at some point. You cannot let other people have a say when it would materially question your right to dominance in the afterlife. Like you just will run into that wall. And with Muslim faith, you run into it a lot quicker. With Christians, you run into it like slightly slower than that, depending on the depth. I mean, Methodists would be way down the line, but like evangelicals would be really close to that. That's why there's such sort of like a MAGA Hamas overlap in how they think about gays and women and shit like that. And then there's the Jews, depending on like the orthodoxy, the depth of the orthodoxy. You're part of a tribe, so nobody else is included. So you're not trying to have anybody join you. And as a matter of fact, nobody's allowed on the bus if you're this chosen people. So they kind of, it's a live and let live religion by almost accident in that regard. Okay. As far, you're not on a big conversion push like the Mormons or something. Okay. So hopefully that helps with the categorization of those kind of things. But that's where that whole like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro thing is headed no matter what they do. It is a fucking wick that is lit and it is burning. Okay. So meanwhile, though, assholes like Peanut Butter Dickhead over here are trapped because on the one hand, Larry Ellison is his kind of fucking dude. Like he's a billionaire, runs a giant company, friends with the president, like right in line with their stuff. But at the same time, maggots don't trust him. Why? Because he's a Jew and they don't know much about him. So that's all you need. That's the recipe. It's the perfect recipe. He's a Jew I don't know much about. So therefore, eyes wide shut, right? They're going to do that, all right? Whether he does or not, whether he's just a run-of-the-mill prickish CEO or he eventually, decides he wants to cure malaria like Bill Gates does, it doesn't matter, right? It's immaterial because they will fill those gaps in not only their ignorance about everything, but yeah, big money Jews all they need. That's enough. Like, oh God, you know how that happened, right? So he's in a rough spot with this because at the one point, every time, am I in the CIA? No, I mean, I kind of would like to be, I guess, but I don't know they would ask me. I'm a little loud, don't you think? For real. But that's the weird thing about the CIA, isn't it? Isn't there who's that dipshit CIA agent that's all over YouTube? You know what I'm talking about? Agent tells secret to whatever. I don't know, like the fucking you type that in, what's his name? Andrew Bustamante. This dude. This guy's on all these shows as like the ex-CIA guy. I'll show you him. You've probably seen him, whatever. This dude who looks like a roadie for Rage Against the Machine. That guy, all right. There's two weird things. One is there's a line I put up the other day about Vladimir Putin where he said there is no such thing as an ex-KGB agent, right? And right, and so yeah, I am a little too loud. There's no such thing as an ex-CIA agent or KGB agent, and then it says underneath it, Vladimir Putin, former KGB agent, right? And so there's an element of like, if this guy's CIA or was CIA, why would he's like, they have perfect ways of tricking you into thinking one thing when they want to think you to think the other. And I'm like, he's not a whistleblower. No. He's like selling a self-help program. It's like a Navy SEAL telling you how to work out. It's just the brain and manipulation version of that, whatever. But again, like, why would I trust him? You never seen him, Kelly? He's all over YouTube. Like there was a big spike for a while and it's leveled out, but he's got his own show. He's got 500,000. He's got 646,000 subscribers. By the way, subscribe, will you? I need some help here. He has a porn stash, right? But that's the point. Like, if you're ex-CIA and you're saying they have ways of manipulating, then you're like, I'm not going to believe you at all now. Unless that's what you want me not to do. Anyways, it's stupid. So the point being is that it's perfect for bullshit paranoia. Which brings us to bullshit paranoia. Now, I want to see a little bit of this. I have not watched any of it. It's relatively short. But you have to understand, again, Larry Ellison, friend of Trump.
When you think about a power player in media, who do you think about? You may say, well, maybe the Murdochs.
No, I don't. That's mostly fake news.
Well, News Corp, they're all Fox. Well,
that would be the same group.
Wall Street, or maybe Reed Hastings, Netflix. Maybe a little bit of...
No, that's just one guy in one company.
Bezos, maybe Musk. Do you know a power player is quietly coming up that 2 years ago nobody was talking about? It was a small little company called Skydance, $1 billion in top line revenue, maybe $100 million in...
Yeah, what was the company that did all the videos for a long time? Viacom. Viacom was this company that was literally, they made their money, they copied VHS tapes. Like, they literally were the ones that for all the studios, they printed the VHS tapes if you bought one for stuff. And so Viacom became the manufacturing hub for VHS, like for consumer available VHS or whatever. That's how Viacom became big. That was the start. Netflix started with, mailing people DVDs. And then, you know what the trick was? You know how they became huge? How they went from nothing to something? They let you keep them. It was a subscription thing. So instead of like ordering one and then you have to mail it back or you'll pay a late fee, nobody wanted to do that. But they're like, pick 3 movies, send them back when you want, and we'll send you a new one. They didn't give a shit because they didn't lose anything from it. It was just part of your subscription. If you kept that movie for a year, it was just part of your subscription for that. You had an incentive to send them back to get a new movie. So they guaranteed their business model. It went from like $1 million to $50 million in like a year. Because that was the trick. It was like the same trick that they did with Alka-Seltzer. You only need one Alka-Seltzer for it to work. But they were like, we could double our sales, literally, if we create packs of 2 and sell them in these little tear packs. Because we sell them in 2 tear packs. Making a 1 tear pack doesn't make any sense, and it looks like a condom. So 2 of them is fine. So you tear off, you drop 1 in, right? And then you keep the other one for later. Like, why bother? They'll just use both of them, and then they'll take 2 more. And we can sell them for a little bit more money, and it doesn't cost us anything. And so plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is, came from the idea of we're going to sell 2 of them. So they doubled their business with 1 trick, okay? Right. So, yes, now Netflix is on the internet, but that's how they started.
But that was what they had. Yeah, they co-produced Top Gun. Yeah, they co-produced Star Trek and a couple other movies. And then all of a sudden...
Yeah, a couple of basically billion-dollar movies. It wasn't all... These little things like Star Trek, these little things like Top Gun.
They buy Paramount for $8 billion. You know what Paramount owns, just to kind of give you an idea? Transformers. It owns...
Queer as Folk.
Pluto, BET, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon. It owns CBS News, Free Press, CSI, The Godfather, Mission Impossible, and
Queer as Folk.
CIS. And then gradually, these guys make an offer to buy Time Warner? What? Yeah. And it's going to get approved? Who are these guys? Wait till you hear who we're still about to own.
Well, sorry, the people who would stop this kind of media conglomerate monopoly thing are for it. If you're bitching about this, I got news for you. This asshole has Trump's cell phone number.
Here's Time Warner, by the way. They're going to own Discovery. They're going to own HBO. They're going to own HGTV, TBS, TNT, TLC, CNN, DC Comics, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings. And on top of that, guess who else they're about to own? TikTok.
Yeah, that's the deal he signed with, that Trump is trying to set up. And about to own, by the way.
You know who we're talking about that? We're talking about Larry Ellison's son named David Ellison. That's who we're going to talk about today.
The Ellison takeover.
If you value added this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. Larry Ellison. Do you know what Larry Ellison is worth? He's worth $365 billion. You know how much his net worth has increased just this year? Almost $150 billion.
Huh. That's weird. And it happened almost entirely right after, how old is this? 9 hours. This video, he posted this 9 hours ago. And for the record, this $150 billion happened essentially after Elon Musk was shown the door. He just moved in. He noticed that other people were moving in, and he was just like, I could scoop in, I can golf with this fucker.
Just in 2025. So naturally, if he's got a son, his son's gonna be ambitious. So he's like, hey son, you wanna do something? Run a business. Hey dad, I took Skydance from 0 to $1 billion with $100 million EBITDA. I think we can do more. Let's go buy Paramount. Let's go buy Time Warner. Let's go buy TikTok. A lot's been going on. And this happened, Skydance, in 2010 when they first formed. And then they bought Paramount last year, $8 billion. We talked about it earlier. And then now they're talking about...
Yes, 15 years later, but still.
Warner Brothers at $20 a share could be worth tens of billions of dollars, depending on them picking it up or not. I don't think anyone's going to stop him, to be honest with you, because he's been a friendly player with the White House.
Yeah, that's what. I don't think anybody's going to stop him because he's been a friendly player with the White House. Here's the thing, asshole. Are you against it? because this is what you supported. This is what this asshole asked for in the White House.
Probably going to prove it. So now you got Skydance, they buy Paramount, they buy Time Warner, and then you get TikTok? You tell me who has that. Elon's got X, massive. He doesn't have a CNN. He doesn't have a TikTok. He doesn't have, this is a very, and by the way, craziest thing is, whenever
What's the craziest thing?
they ever talk about who Elon Musk's mentor is that he goes to for advice, you know whose name comes up? Larry Ellison, where Elon's like, look,
Yeah, well, how's the fresh knife wound in your back?
I'm going to be buying up, you know, Tesla. You may want to put some money into it. He's like, how much money do you think I should put into it? Maybe I'll give you $1 billion. He said, well, listen, it's not like I need any money, but I would put 2 instead of 1. Ellison's like, no problem, I'll put $2 billion into Tesla. They have a very, very good relationship. At one point when Elon was going through challenges.
Well, when you talk about billions, like it's 100K or something like that, and you're a millionaire, this is not a close friend. This is like, okay, this is worth a bet. He didn't just go on like, you know, Elon said, yeah, if you're going to put in 1, I'd put in 2. You know, his people did due diligence, right? They own a piece of this.
He got on his jet and he went to Larry Ellison's place, I think in Hawaii, one of the islands he owns, just to have a meeting with them. And then he came back and he says, hey,
That's where his bunker is. Do you know that I think Jeff Zuckerberg owns a mansion, of course, in Hawaii, but underneath it is a, like, I want to say like a $260 million bunker. Like a, you know, like a super survival bunker. Just for the record.
you may not want to be
Is he jealous? Yes, he's jealous.
too strong in your relationship with Apple because you need Apple. You're being a little too tough on Apple. That's a company you need because your app is on Apple. So very, very smart businessman. He owns 41% of Oracle. Now his son is becoming a big power player, but
Yeah, as anybody would with what? How much? $30 billion of his dad's money to play with? For real?
at the end of the day, we may not have anybody in the world like this right now. Reed Hastings, he owns Netflix. He's the leader of Netflix, biggest shareholder, but he doesn't have a social media play. These guys now do with TikTok. All right, so you may say, well, Pat, I mean, I know maybe you're building this too much.
No, you're not. It's a total threat.
What's their actual revenue? All right, let's talk about it. So check this out. Netflix's revenue this year is guesstimated to be around $45 billion in 25. Disney is roughly $94 billion in 25. If you take Skydance, which is $1 billion, with Paramount, with Time Warner, and you combine TikTok, you know what you get? Ready? $93 billion in revenue.
Wait a minute. If they all work together, if you own, wait a minute, you have to own all 4 of those fucking things, run them separately, and they have to be successful, and you're still not making what Disney makes? Disney doesn't have to run a fucking social media platform. They're a movie and amusement company. I know, I used to work for them as a Disney dad. Hello, Lab Rats fans. So, and?
Overnight,
No, not overnight. You still have to make them work. And they'll be folded into each other. That's how you collapse half these things, dummy.
2 times as big as Netflix, same size as Disney overnight. That's Skydance for you. And keep this in mind, the average person is going to look at it and say, oh, they're going to be a media company. No, Larry is Oracle. He owns 41%. They're going to be using the information they have of Paramount and Warner Brothers to get the global subscriber data, what they can do with the ad inventory, the IP. Imagine
Sorry, do you think that the rest of these companies don't do this?
how that's going to be used. And then the US government, when they chose the buyers for TikTok, 80% of TikTok.
Sorry, the U.S. government? Was there a bill passed in Congress to see who gets to own TikTok? It was decided like over fucking dinner at Mar-a-Lago, you asshat.
It's going to be sold. They're allowing ByteDance to keep 20% of it as a minority, but 80%, one of the main ones.
20%. That's all you need. That's what we call a backdoor in the business.
Moon River.
It's going to be Oracle, and check this out. Oracle's role stores all US TikTok user data on its servers, oversees TikTok's recommendation algorithm under license.
under license. So they pay a fee for its existence, the entirety of it. Real quick, what do you think it'll take a company in 2027 to come up with an algorithm that's the next TikTok algorithm, but is 100% here and doesn't require paying China a fee? Whether it's Snapchat or somebody decides to bring back fucking Vine or YouTube falls into it and they decide, okay, we've got our own algorithm that, you know, that keeps people locked and all that kind of stuff. It's equal to, but less damaging, say, than the TikTok thing, but we don't steal your data and we could just say this. Also, TikTok is malware, get it off your phone. But the idea that, like, you're going to pay a 20% fee to the Chinese for Communist Party, by the way. ByteDance, like, that money is just shoveled right into there. So this whole idea of, like, everybody on TikTok is funding the Chinese military, if you listen to fucking Josh Hawley, I guess. But how? It'll be super fucking easy. That's the thing about software. It's all software. And if you're going to license it, that means you don't get to look at how it's run, but how hard will it be for somebody to fucking figure it out and wipe it out in a little bit? It makes no sense. Like, here's what I hope for TikTok. I hope the sale goes through and then everyone stops using it all at once. Like, that would be fucking awesome.
Holds a major equity stake in a new joint venture, and you know what they're buying it for? You look at what Facebook is worth. So Facebook is worth roughly $1.8 trillion. You know what they're buying TikTok for? $14 billion. An absolute...
They're not buying it for that. They're licensing it. And he's not buying it for $14 billion. He's buying into it for $14 billion. Other people are kicking in too. It's just, I mean, Jesus Christ. X is partly owned by Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Combs is making money off of everyone who uses shitter right now. Like, when he gets out, he'll still have after he gets out of jail, he'll still have a revenue stream because of shitter. Like that, while he's in jail, that's just fucking cranking away, and that money will just stack till he gets out.
Discount is what...
Yes, it's like buying stock in fentanyl, exactly.
They're getting it at. Talk about a flywheel of everything feeding each other. This is essentially the ultimate flywheel. Give me a better comp. Tell me one company that has influence now with movies, production, you know, their own...
Movies, production, the production of movies, movies about production... The production of a movie about, like, on TikTok in 2 minutes chunks.
OTT, and on top of that, one of the biggest social media companies that goes viral, that has data of people around the world. Who has that? Nobody has that today.
Facebook has it. Fucking Shitter has a bunch of stuff. Like the Mastodon architecture has access to a ton of that stuff. Holy shit, YouTube and Google. Gee, I don't know. Who has consumer data? There's a big company starts with an A.
They may overnight be.
By the way, Amazon is outpacing what is effectively Tesla long term through better diversification. It's so stupid. Like they've got rockets and they've got data and they've got, like, the AWS crash showed that even Oracle relies on Amazon. Fucking hell. Derp.
The biggest power player in media. Now, some of the people that are watching this, maybe you're technically like, no, Skydance didn't buy TikTok. It was Oracle. It's father and son. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure. Yeah, I understand they're related. Yeah. It's father's money.
Runs Oracle, who is acquiring TikTok. Skydance's son. When the father is no longer around, do you know how old Larry Ellison is? He is 81 years old. He looks good. I actually think he's going to go to...
Oh, God. He looks like... Jesus Christ. He looks like a deflated balloon. And by the way, he's planning on living to be 150.
To 100, right? So say 19 more years. He goes to 100. Who's David going to be 19 years from now?
Who's anybody going to be 19 years from now, you dipshit? With, like, AI and automation, you think like having a conglomerate of literally the only thing that will be valuable from any of these companies is the old IPs, is the fact that they own Harry Potter and they can repurpose it for fucking 2-second TikTok videos.
Damn. Talk about a real. David's going to be a trillionaire overnight, if you think about it. Because
yeah, I'm not going to think about it. Maybe. Did I think about it? I did think about it. I'm not going to think about it anymore.
Larry's going to be a trillionaire in the next couple of years, the direction they're going. And now when
Couple decades.
you think about the partnership they're creating, where now Oracle invests into NVIDIA, NVIDIA invests into OpenAI, OpenAI invests.
Yeah, that's how the money goes back. And then all the money goes right back into Oracle's pocket. $20 leaves here, goes to here. And then that $20 goes to here. And then those $20 go right back to here. Now, I think he believes that it's a spiral upward, that this 20 turns into 30, turns into 40, comes back, and then that 40 turns into 50, turns into 60, because right, that's the theory anyways. Except one of these companies is putting itself out of business. All AI companies are putting themselves out of business. That's their ultimate goal. They will be ubiquitous, open source, and the only thing that anyone will need them for is giant data services, which is why Oracle thinks it's going to run shit, because you're going to need these giant servers for the giant shit, but you're absolutely not. It's like it was a model that came out the other day that's as good as ChatGPT 3, that's 7 megabytes. You could that uses less power than your phone for an hour. It's nuts. Does anybody think, like, the speed of this shit's going, that it's going to be the same in 2 years, much less 20? You think in 19 years, that's how, like, wealth is going to be determined? These fuckers are going to be in bunkers.
Into Oracle, the ultimate flywheel of them helping each other out.
Hey, he printed it on paper. Who am I to argue?
There are some incredible. People say, I created a partnership with the local real estate office. I created a partnership with OpenAI and NVIDIA. That's Oracle.
Yeah, but I mean, billion-dollar companies do that a lot. They have forever. Remember Ma Bell? Remember, how about U.S. Steel? How about that? How about the big three car companies? Right? Imagine talking about this in terms of like 1957 to 1965. Going like, I'm partnering with one of the big car companies, right? What happened 30 years later, 40 years later?
Pay very close
The stock price of Ford is what, $9?
attention to these guys. It's going
Oh, Rob Glenn is here. Hey, Rob.
to be very, very interesting what happens. But based on what it looks like, if they sell none of their assets the next 20, 30 years, anybody...
Yes, no one's going to sell any of their assets in the next 20 or 30 years. Yeah, you know what? If you could say anything about our current state of affairs, it's the static nature of technology and economics. Fuck me.
that becomes president, anybody, before they even run for president. Hi, may I meet with Larry, please? And David? Why is that? I'm thinking about being the next president of the United States. Get in line. We got 62 other people that want to meet with us. Maybe we can meet with you end of the year. That's what's about to happen.
Which is, awesome? What are you trying to do? Get him as a guest on the fucking show? Jesus Christ.
With those guys. They're officially #1 power players. The way that it's look like, once all these deals get closed. Okay, so if you got value out of this video, give it.
Jesus Christ. Ugh. Just the stupidity. The idea, like, we've seen, like, media conglomerations, like, join together. I mean, where the fuck is MGM? Where's fucking Orion? All the media companies that get sucked up into something else. And there's, like, having a bunch of fucking channels is not having a fucking media empire. Like, congratulations if you have HGTV and TLC at the same time. It doesn't take much to compete with that. It just doesn't. It doesn't take $500 billion anymore. It used to. That used to be a big fucking deal. If you were one of the 3 newspapers in the country trying to be a 4th, you were fucked. None of that applies now. ugh. And and again, 41%, he's 41% owner of Oracle. That means it's a publicly traded company. That means it can come and go in its value based on its competition. That's why it's investing in these other things. Stupid. It has to. It's not doing it because it's awesome. It's doing it out of survival. It's trying to buy its way into a limited number of processors. You invest in NVIDIA because they need to produce these things. You know what he did? You know what fucking investing in NVIDIA is? You're pre-ordering chips. They can't keep up with production. That's all you're doing. And then OpenAI is using some of Oracle servers, but it's using a ton of them. Holy shit. Yeah, he's not invested in NVIDIA, so that's why he's pissed. He's and he would have never bought Oracle because it's fucking it's thought of largely as database software. The Switch guys here in Vegas are expanding hand over fist. Most people don't even know their fucking name, and they're doing the same thing Oracle's doing, but they're just doing it on their growth scale. Is you can buy in smaller because they're not that big a company and they're blowing up. They're expanding all down the fucking freeway here, building these half underground vented data center sites. They're crazy. They look like fucking. Hold on, let me see if I can show you a picture of it. They look like space stations. Switch facility, Las Vegas. See if I can get a picture of it. Images. Yeah, these guys. These fucking thing. The Switch Core campus. They're opening another one every 3 or 4 months at this point. Look at this fucking thing. You know what that is? These are heat vents. Because the fucking servers are so hot. And one of the reasons why it's good, you can build them here in Vegas or you can build them in Arizona, is because the fucking heat that comes out of these things isn't going to cook the shrubbery because there isn't any. Because it's already 120 degrees here, 6 months of the year. So, god damn. Look. Is it a problem that certain people are buying up media companies and consolidating them? That's always a problem. Is it a guarantee that they're going to be in control of shit in 2 years, much less 10 years? No. Lord almighty. Okay, but again, that's his buddy. That's Trump's friend.